Welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with Craig Ott. We're talking about Financial Peace University. Right before we get into the actual program that's coming up, let's talk about that T word and tithing. And what does Dave have to say about that?
I thought you were talking about Thomas.
No, what does the Bible have to say about tithing?
Okay.
Craig.
The Bible and tithing. Well, it says that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. That needs to be a priority. And as we go through Financial Peace, we talk about setting apart or aside that amount regularly. Now, the question that I'm always asked at Financial Peace is, am I supposed to tithe on the gross or the net?
Or the net. All right, big question.
And my answer is always a big grin and yes. Come to Financial Peace and we'll talk about that.
That's good. The other thing some people have said, does it really have to be 10% or should you just get used to percentage giving?
Yes.
What's Dave say about that?
What's Dave say about that? He'll tell you, really, that you need to be a tithe. Now, that doesn't mean that's all you have to give or all that you get to give.
Right.
You see, because I'm of the school of thought that says, okay, I need to be there. I admit, when we started in Financial Peace, I was having a hard time getting to a 10%. But I decided and determined, along with the encouragement of Financial Peace University, I needed to work that direction and I needed to get there. Now, I can give my tithe. And now, I also have an offering.
Yes.
And I can give that and rejoice with that and say, this is what God has blessed me with. Let me bless you with this.
It's the one promise, isn't it, where God says, test me on this.
Yeah.
Has he ever failed that test?
I've not seen it happening. But we're afraid to step out in that area because as humans, we think, this is my job. I can do this.
Well, and I think another part of it that we don't talk about as much is the first 10%. That there should be before you do all the other stuff. Because, yes, as you sit down and you pay your bills, you go out to dinner on that Friday night of payday, then you take a look at everything on Saturday and you say, oh, good grief, if I give 10% of it now, I'm down to this.
Exactly.
But somehow, if you give that 10% first, everything else just falls into place, doesn't it?
One thing that we talked about at our house early on was, do we want to eat fresh or eat leftovers? Now, as we get ready to give our offering or our tithe to God, are we going to give fresh or are we going to give and eat leftovers?
Wow.
Now, that's one of the first things that we do at Financial Peace is we take a look at, building our budget. And for some time, I thought developing a budget, that's almost a bad word.
That's another bad word, the B word, budget. Yeah, let's talk about that. But there's freedom in that, isn't there?
There's freedom in that. And the first thing that, and we joke around with the FPU and wherever you do it is, Dave says. And Dave says that the first thing we got to put into our budget is our tithe.
Yeah.
Give to the Lord. Let's open the floodgates of heaven. Let's test him in this. Is there going to be enough to take care of the other stuff down the line? Well, test me.
Yes, exactly.
Let's learn and do it the right way. And so when we're talking about in the first lesson with Financial Peace University of super saving, we're also talking about how can I save? How much am I going to save? Where does that come from? Well, I'm telling my money where to go before I get it. Not after it's there. And I told you, Susie, I'm a free spender. Boy, I like going to the bank and getting cash back and saying, woohoo, where am I going now? And then, relating with money, what am I going to do with that? Now, I have been in the local church for a number of years as a minister, as a youth minister. And I had a lot of young people coming through and wanting to get married. One of the first things you two are going to argue about is money.
What? You're kidding.
Whose money? What money? 1 account, 2 accounts, 4 accounts, sock drawer, which drawer?
Yeah.
And So we had to start talking about it back then.
Yeah.
And really, when I came across FPU, it was like, all right, here's a sample budget. You kids go out and start putting it together now.
Oh, what a good idea.
It was a great help.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've talked about tithing that first 10%.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked about putting something back for a rainy day fund.
Mm-hmm.
How soon do you start thinking about saving for retirement as those young people and college education for the kids?
Okay.
I mean, that can start to really eat into, it's important to save for all those things.
It is.
But then you also have to pay for the groceries and your rent or mortgage. And how do you get all that out of one piece of pie?
We got to live right now. And so we're talking about what are the bare necessities at my house. And that's part of building that budget. And we're building the budget, and then we're saying, okay, where is this dollar going to go? Where's that one? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get rid of our debt. We're going to dump our debt. And there's a full lesson on that as we've built up to that. That's in about week 4. And then it's, what prices are we spending extra on of the bare necessities of things that we need? Should I go to, some big chain store and pay all the financial charges to buy a refrigerator or a freezer? We need those things. Mm-hmm. Or that 55-inch deluxe super screen with push buttons everywhere with 29 remotes. When I was growing up, Susie, I was the remote.
We grew up at the same time.
There you go. And do we need that?
Right.
And some of that is we're talking about, do I want it or do I need it? Mm-hmm. And we have that conversation. How do we relate to one another with that conversation? Well, then we have the role of insurance. We talk about that. What about that retirement thing? I was way behind on my retirement. Mm-hmm. And I'm not very good at the stock market. I did work on a dairy farm for a while. Uh-huh. But that's not the kind of stock Dave's talking about.
Oh, got ya.
Yeah, you were slow on the uptake there.
I was like trying to connect those dots.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, there is retirement planning, and there is college planning that we can do, that we can fund after we get rid and dump our debt.
Well, once you dump the debt, that almost gives you a raise, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And aren't young people very surprised to find out how much more they've got to work with if they don't fall into that trap of owing so much plus paying huge APRs on what it's almost like you're buying your money.
Exactly, yes. And each step along the way is going to help you to get to the point to say, I am financially free.
Do you talk about the difference between renting versus owning a home? What does he have to say about that?
Come to FPU and we'll talk about that some more. And our FPU is going to be held at Greenwood Christian Church, and we're going to start on March the 5th. In case you missed that, Greenwood Christian Church is over on 44th and Fraser here in Canton. And we're going to have the time there at 6 p.m. in the evening, at night, every Sunday night for 9 weeks. It's a 9-week program now. Some may have heard about it before. When we went through it, we did 13 weeks. He's condensed a few things, didn't really leave anything out, but just streamlined it because in our day and age, people are saying, time is really precious to me.
Who should attend this? We've talked about young people. What about somebody who says, this sounds great, but I am so embarrassed, I am so under that there is no hope here? Who is this for? Or maybe you've even got older people saying, okay, but right now we are living on a very fixed income. I don't know that I can do anything differently than what I'm currently doing. Talk to those 3 different individuals.
You asked the question in the broad sense at first that said, who should be a part of Financial Peace University? Are you breathing?
Okay.
You need to be a part.
Okay.
Are you in debt? You need to check it out. Are you to the stage in your life where you're saying, I'm about to retire and I need to get things in line a little bit? You need to be a part of FPU. And what about those people in the mid areas of life, you know, the 30s, the 40s. Oh, yeah, you need to be there. I mean, in your 20s, that's a good time to get started and to get the right thinking.
Yes.
Now, you know, I've substitute taught down at Heritage Christian. And one of the things that I do down there is I'll sit in on the economics class. You know what curriculum we're using? Oh, I am right at home. It's from Dave Ramsey and Financial Peace University.
Really?
And my students will look and go, oh, Mr. Ott, on budgeting, oh. And we'll talk, and I have fun with it. Dave has fun with it.
First, 2 questions. First of all, is there a cost for the Financial Peace University?
Yes, there is. And the cost for the kit, which includes Dave Ramsey's book, Total Money Makeover, a workbook that goes along with it, access to online services and helps and questions and facts and things like that, and also a little bit of what they call an envelope system, and we define that as we go through. The cost is $93. Now, we have found, Dave Ramsey has found in the organization that over the first 3 months, you'll save and cut back and dump about $5,700 in debt.
Wow.
Plus, you will save money as well and put that in the bank.
So
the
you
kit
invest
is
that less than $100
Yes.
at the beginning, and you save that massive amount. Here's a funny question.
Okay.
Will you take credit cards?
No. How's that? You know, and I did that. I mean, really. Now, yeah, I'm not in this alone.
Right.
You know, the teacher every week for Financial Peace is Dave Ramsey. We have the DVD curriculum. Our coordinator at Greenwood Christian Church is Barb McNeely, and her husband Tom has been through it a number of times. I'm also going to be there, and my wife Beth is going to be helping out as well. And we talk about that. One of the first times we went up to a live event with Dave Ramsey, and we went down to the booth to buy a sample kit. Me, being common Joe, Mr. America, whipped out my Visa card, and they said,
We won't take that.
we don't accept those here. Didn't you pay attention?
Right.
A debit card? Yeah.
Sure.
Cash? Yeah.
You do say that there is some kind of a free sample session that a person can step into and see if this is going to be right for them?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Tell us about it.
And it just helps you to get to know the Financial Peace University program and the way that Dave teaches and relates. That will be the first night of our classes, which is March the 5th. But what we would like for you to do is to call us and let us know you're coming, because obviously, Susie, we're not going to have your kit there and available because you've not been by to give us a check or cash for the $93. We are going to be able to just offer some paper that has some blank lines on it, along with some wording from the FPU workbook.
Okay.
That you can then copy later off into your workbook, which is yours to take home and to help out.
For more information, how do they reach you?
Well, you can go to the church website, which is Greenwood Christian Church, 44th and Fraser. You can call the church, and the number there is 330-494-7088. Or you can go to daveramsey.com/FPU. Look it up and see where it's available, and you can see some of the information there.
Craig Ott, thanks for joining us on Our Community.
Thank you very much, Susie. Have a great day.